So you mentioned the Senate Republicans. You at the WFP has been doing a lot of work around countering the IDC, trying to get the 8 Democrats who were elected in Democratic districts, who are working, who have a deal, working with the Republicans in the Senate, and as a result, the Senate is not controlled by Democrats, and New York is not a democratically controlled state. We've talked about the IDC extensively, and if you want to know more, go down below and you can see all of my IDC reporting on the playlist on TYT Politics. But you guys at WFP organized a bunch of your members, turned out and protested these IDC members this week. Why now? Why is there this, because the IDC's been in existence for a few years now, but why is there this reaction right now?
Well, I mean, we've been against the IDC since day one, and we've been putting out pretty militant statements since their inception saying this is just wrong. But what has happened since the election of Trump is, to use a term people are using more and more, is people have woke to this idea that this is really a crazy situation that we have here in New York State. Millions of working families and across the country are waking up, and here in New York, literally millions of New Yorkers are waking up, and they are scared of what they see coming from D.C. They're scared of the threat to the republic, to our democracy. They're scared of losing their health care. They are scared of losing their rights. They're scared of what's going to happen with climate change. They're scared of losing the right to choose. There's so many fundamental things. Public education is going to be under assault by this administration. What people in the states are doing is they're looking to their state to protect them. And here in New York, obviously people are looking at Albany and they're suddenly realizing, wait, I thought this was a progressive state. I thought this was a really blue state, because in fact, by registration, it is.
Yeah.
And what they realize is Donald Trump has allies that control the state Senate that are able to block so much of the legislation that we need to protect workers, that we need to protect women, people of color, immigrants, just working class people across the state. They're blocking it. And what's crazy is that the margin that they have is very, very narrow. In fact, they don't even have 32. They don't even have a majority. We have 32 Democrats as of right now. But 8 Democrats, actually 9 Democrats, but 8 of them are part of this independent Democratic conference. And those 8 plus this other guy, they're all caucusing, they're in a coalition with the Senate Republicans. And that has given these guys this sense of confidence, this buffer, this much broader mandate to be able to hold on to power. With donors, with the broader political class, the Democrats look weak and divided. So the Senate Republicans are able to really prevent us from defending New Yorkers and defending working families here in New York State. It's a completely unacceptable situation. And now people are really aware of this, and they are being galvanized. So for us, there's a level of activism that we're seeing in general, and specifically on this, that is just unprecedented. I mean, we did a series of protests Wednesday, mostly during the day, and hundreds of people showed up picketing in front of these offices. And this was not something like, as an organizer, I know a lot of times to turn people out to do stuff is hard work. This is like you put out an email and like people show up, right. Hundreds of people show up. There's a grassroots movement out there, and it's headed straight towards the IDC, and it's being validated at the highest levels, finally, of the Democratic Party. Keith Ellison and others are putting out a statement saying this can't stand, this has to change. And I think it will. I think these guys are going to come back. It's going to be tough. It's going to be complicated. But then we can begin the long, important work of building a durable, progressive majority that can stand up to Trump.
What has been their excuse for not coming back?
They're pragmatic progressives who want to get things done, and
sounds so familiar.
So they can make deals with Republicans to moderate some of the excesses of the Republican Party by being part of their coalition. I really think that is wrong completely. I think that what they're doing is weakening the Democrats, weakening their ability to pick up seats, empowering the Republicans, and I think it's the good things that have we have won things in New York that are important: the minimum wage, paid family leave, raise the age, different things, and I think what those things have been won because progressives, the WFP and unions and community activists have worked for years to change the landscape, And we have put so much pressure on the Republicans and the governor that they have been forced to really respond, and the governor has been forced to change his views and actually come in and change things. I think that the IDC has been really not critical to those victories. They claim them, but I think the governor has actually given them extra credit so that there could be a fig leaf for them. The other thing is that many of those victories could have been much better.
Right. Yes, they could have. I mean, there were a lot of complaints about raise the age being watered down, and of course, they've been campaigning on a lot of issues like the DREAM Act, but when it came down to the budget, they didn't vote for them.
So there's a whole lot of stuff that they couldn't get done. The stuff that did get done, I don't think that they were critical to getting it done, and it could have been stronger.
And as a result, I mean, the Republicans are controlling committees. So when
they control what comes to the floor.
It's not pragmatic, because if it were pragmatic, then the Democrats would be in the committees and they would be working with the Democrats pragmatically trying to get progressive legislation done, which I assume is a lot easier than working with Republicans. That's like saying, I was a Bernie Sanders supporter, and I'm not going to vote for Hillary Clinton. I'm going to vote for Donald Trump because I think I can get more done with Donald Trump. That's literally what they're saying.
I think that that's exactly right. I really do. I think that there's all these tortured arguments, but at the end of the day, that's the logic they're employing, Nabiki. I think you nailed it.
Bill, this was fantastic. Time went by so quickly. I hope that we can have more conversations in the future, and keep up the great work at the Working Families Party.
Thank you so much.
With the IDC. We'll be watching. I'm sure everybody will be watching because New York deserves to be progressive.
Thank you.
Thanks.